Why international clients?
You charge a certain rate, and unfortunately businesses in SA can't always afford social media services.
So what do social media managers actually do?
Let's start with what they don't do.
Do you think that there's something to be said about the different age groups in terms of work ethic? Like we're talking from Gen Z, millennial, to the people before the millennials and the boomers.
I think I know what you're asking me. You're
What
asking
am
me
I
about
asking?
Gen Z. Gen Z, you guys are a problem.
So will we have to readjust our companies to fit them so we can get access to the skills that they have, or will it be the other way around?
I hope it'll be a blend of both. They change things. They
Yeah.
really, they challenge the status quo in a way that I think us millennials are always afraid of. Like, no, but this is how it's always been done.
Yeah.
They're just like, well, change it.
Hello, Resonate community, and welcome to the Resonate podcast. Welcome to the best sales and entrepreneurship podcast in the whole wide world. As always, I'm excited about today's podcast episode. Let me tell you, I bring exciting people to this podcast. So I'm so excited today because I've got somebody that I've been following for quite some time. We actually met on TikTok, and I was just like, ooh, I love me a girl that's doing things and a girl that's moving and a girl that's empowering knowledge. And today I've got her in studio with me, and you guys are going to hear so many gems. And I always say, have a notepad, have a notebook, because we're about to drop the biggest and the greatest gems. Keikha Tebe, thank you so much for joining
Hi,
me.
Michelle. Thank you for having me.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good. I'm
Yeah?
good. I'm here. I made it. I'm finally here.
I'm so glad. I was like, oh my God, please come. We need
Like,
to
let's
talk
do
to
it.
you.
Let's just make this happen.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm so excited. So before we get into like the cracks, because I know you and I are boss babes, right? Before we get into all of that, we normally like to do a fire round of questions
Okay.
to give our audience and everybody that's listening just a little bit of who you really are. You know, I trust me, it's safe. Okay, but you can't passive. You have to answer every question I ask you.
Okay. I'll try
Yeah?
my best.
Okay, cool. What's the first thing you look forward to every single morning?
Well, I sleep with my son. So every
Yeah?
morning he wakes up and he's just like, good morning, mama. And it's like a hug and a kiss and a squeeze. I think that's my favorite thing in the
Isn't
mornings.
that so sweet? And also
Yeah.
how they wake up so happy.
I know. I don't get it. It's like, what were you dreaming about? Give me some of that.
Love it. Oh my
Yeah.
God. What's the last book you read?
I'm reading 12-Week Year. So I'm still reading it. I'm not done with
Oh,
it. But
yeah.
yeah, I'm reading 12-Week
Tell me,
Year.
how is it? I've been wanting to. I just don't feel called to it yet.
I was like that as well.
Yeah.
I was really hesitant, but I'm like,
Yeah.
let me just see what it's about. It's a quick read.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm enjoying it. Yeah. I want to do it actually. I'm going to start.
Really?
Yeah, my own 12-week challenge. Yeah.
Oh shucks.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. What's your favorite food?
Biltong. Hectic
Really?
addiction. Every day. Almost every day.
Like what kind? The hard one.
No. I don't like it hard. Soft. Yeah, soft.
Is it?
Yeah.
There's a biltong place around Four Ways, just outside Danefern. The best. Like they
Really?
sell the whole
Is it a butchery?
thing. I don't know.
You see,
But
it
it's
has
like
to
a
be a
small
butchery.
little.
My requirements is like 10-point checklist to me.
You probably know the texture of the right biltong
so I
now.
get it from a butchery. They
Oh
know how
my
to do it.
gosh.
Yeah.
Okay, you're like an avid
Yeah.
serial
I'm
biltong
very
lover.
serious about my biltong.
Shucks. How many years have you been in the industry that you are in right now?
Which industry am I in?
Definitely not engineering anymore.
Yeah, so I left my
Yeah.
engineering career in 2019.
Yeah.
So yeah, ever since then I've just been trying all kinds of things. So
Yeah.
couple of
Until
years.
Elevate X.
Mhm.
Yeah. Oh, I definitely want to get into that. All right, cool. So, everybody. It's always nice to get the small little quirks about people because you really get to understand the heart of who they are
Yeah.
and the things that they really enjoy the most.
Yeah.
So, thank you for sharing that. Now, getting into the cracks of things, I bumped into you on TikTok and I was like, what? I want to follow her immediately. I'm like, I'm a girl's girl. So, it's like, I want to follow her and I want to see what she's doing. And you've just been going up from there in terms of helping people become social media managers and get international clients.
Yes.
That's big.
Yeah, I think
Why international clients?
so. Okay, so the industry I work in, right? You provide social media services to businesses.
Yeah.
And now you charge a certain rate. And unfortunately, businesses in SA can't always afford social media services. You know, maybe I think the bigger organizations can, but they
Yeah.
already have a built-in social media team or they're working with an agency. So for me, it's really ideal for beginners to work with American businesses, US, overseas clients. They can usually afford it. So yeah, it's a great match between the overseas clients and ourselves as like
Yeah.
beginner social media managers.
Yeah. One of the reasons why I connect with the work that you do is because my life and my business changed when I had an international client in 20 21 or 2021, and I'd been like working with just like, so that obviously people close to me, and then I landed somebody who was from Silicon Valley, and I was just like, sorry, what? I cannot believe you guys are getting paid this much to do the exact same work we're doing. And I think that's really what opened my mind up to building a global business, which is essentially what you help people do. So let's chat a bit about social media management, because I talk to a number of people, especially when we do these coaching programs and these masterclasses. They just like, I want like to build a brand and I just want to be on social media, and people don't really know what it actually is. What is social media management?
Okay, so social media management falls under the umbrella of digital marketing, which falls under the umbrella of marketing.
Okay.
Right? So it's a marketing function. Obviously,
right.
marketing is very broad.
Yeah.
So if you're going to go into social media marketing, you may decide to hire someone to help you set up your brand on social media. So then you'll work with someone who's a social media manager to help you get that sorted. But it does fall under digital marketing, under your marketing. So you can't just
Right.
start with social media marketing. Like, what's your overall strategy? Your overall marketing strategy? Where does digital marketing fit in? And then where does the social media fit in? So you don't just start your business and then it's like, oh, Instagram.
Yeah.
You've got to think of your holistic marketing strategy and then where social media fits in. And then if you do want help, then you might work with a social media marketer to help you.
So if you're somebody that is currently struggling with your sales, you're not generating any money in your business, you're struggling to define your USP, you feel like stuff in your business are just not getting better, but they could be better, we have a masterclass that we are actually hosting on the 16th of April live, but we'll also have a pre-recorded version if you would like it. Click on the link below and come join us for this masterclass, because I'm going to actively be helping you put together a USP, understand your customer, give you sales tactics, give you more information and scripts on how you can handle an inquiry, how you can actually make sure that every engagement you have with your clients on social media or in person eventually turns into sale. You do not want to miss this. Now back to the podcast episode. Interesting. So what kind of an entrepreneur would need a social media marketing?
You should already be making money. I get a lot of people that
Interesting.
inquire with me and they're just starting their business. They just have an idea and they already want to hire a social media manager. But I don't think that's appropriate. I think you should already be an existing business. That's what I tell all my students. Don't work with clients that are just starting out because they don't have money. They're not just making money. You're going to struggle to get your invoices paid, because I know how it is. I'm an entrepreneur. I have my own businesses, so I know what it's like. So I would say the businesses should already be making money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You created a post that I was so interested in, but I was like, dang, it was actually a teachable moment for me where you said there are things that a social media manager doesn't do for their clients. And take us through that, like just for the purposes of this session right now, what are the things that they don't do? Because in my head, I thought a social media manager in the past is like somebody who's just managing your social media, taking content. Like it becomes their business now. And after I've seen your post, I was like, okay, doesn't actually work like that. So what do social media managers actually do?
Let's start with what they don't do. Right.
Great.
So if you don't have a marketing strategy at all,
Yeah.
a social media marketer can't help you do that. Like, you first need to know as a business, what are your goals? What are you hoping to achieve? What is your brand about? Right? If you don't even have a brand, you don't even know who your target audience is for, you're not ready.
Yeah.
You haven't done your homework as the entrepreneur. You need to know. So you tell the social media manager who your target audience is. I can't tell you the number of clients. We ask them, so we have an intake form we make people fill out. And you ask the client, what is the target audience? And they'll say, anyone, everyone. I'm like, no, you haven't done your homework. You haven't done your homework as an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
So there are certain things you already need to have in place. And the social media marketers is there to help you achieve your goals that you've set. Right? So you already need to know those things. So I can't help you come up with a brand identity. You don't know your logos, your font colors, who your target audience is. Like, that's your work. And if you need help with that, then hire a specific brand strategist. There are people who, that's their job, right? They'll help you with logos, fonts. If you don't know who your target audience is, maybe take a business masterclass from Michelle. You know, she can help you lay those foundations. You need to lay those foundations first and know what you want. And then the social media manager is there to help you achieve those goals. Yeah.
That's so interesting, because I think these days social media has just become an umbrella, like you also mentioned earlier, for everybody, that whenever we think about social media, it's like, it's just posting, creating content. So they'll figure out the colors, they'll figure out what works for me, etc., etc. Now, we are obviously in a space where the unemployment rate in South Africa is like very, very low. And we are starting businesses not because we are, in most cases, passionate about something, but it's because we're trying to find something to make money immediately. That's how people create fake accounts and duplicate our accounts and want to help people make money, etc. So how does the work that you do, or maybe rather being in a social media manager, how can that help somebody who's currently unemployed? Because, and I ask this because of this, I do a number of workshops, and I meet people that are just like, I'm willing to do anything. And when somebody is unemployed and they desperately need to make money, chances are they are going to be more focused on the politics of the stomach, meaning that we have no hierarchy of clients. We are just going to get anybody who's, if they say they'll pay me 200 Rand to do a post, I'll do it right now. So maybe the actual question I'm asking is, how do we begin to build a mindset for people who are unemployed to step into running a business and having a business that's going to generate great revenue for them?
It's a tough problem. I've been trying to solve this problem for many, many years, right? I started creating content to help unemployed people get jobs. But I realized that at some point, people are tired of jobs. They realize there's not enough jobs for all of us, and they're moving on to other ways of making money. And starting a business is one of those ways. But I do think it's a bit of a leap to go from zero to starting your own business. It's so hard to be profitable and have a business. So I found that an in-between stage could be just be a freelancer, just offer your services. It doesn't mean you run the entire business. You're just going to help a business with one particular thing. So that's what I really think. If you're unemployed, look to what skills can I learn that I can then offer to businesses and they'll pay me for it. So I really think a lot of people, just like you said, they're thinking with their stomachs and they just want to make money. But you can't get money for nothing. What skills do you have? What skills can you offer? So think of what value I can provide rather than I need 100 Rand today. That's the wrong mindset. You really need to switch it around and say, what skills can I offer? Do I currently have? Or what skills can I learn? And who can I find to like pay me for those things? So I really think they need to focus on learning skills or cultivating the skills they already have.
That's so powerful. And it's more of a mindset shift that also eventually gets into the actions that you're going to take, which is very, very important. Now, you and I are no strangers to entrepreneurship, and we know that it can be a bit difficult. It's got its ups and downs. And I want to touch a little bit into your journey, because I was quite intrigued when I found out that you were an engineer by profession. I was like, girl, that's what our parents were telling us to do when we were young. Like, just have this degree, get a job. And how has it been for you just navigating that profession into entrepreneurship?
For me, it was a bit heartbreaking because engineering, I thought it was my passion. I really wanted it. Like, yes, my mom nudged me in that direction of science, engineering, but I wanted it too. I wanted to be a corporate baddie, okay? I wanted to rise up the ranks, get promoted, be CEO of something by the time I'm 40 years old. That was my dream. Entrepreneurship was never my dream. I know you've been like doing this since you were small, right? Selling sweets and doing these kinds of things. I was never that girl. My dream was to be a corporate baddie. I either wanted to be a chartered accountant, a doctor, an engineer, work in corporate, traditional.
I can see you though being a corporate baddie. Like, you fit.
I wanted to. That's what I wanted. So it didn't work out for me. Like, I was so disappointed, and I hopped multiple companies thinking, no, maybe it's the companies that I'm at. I don't think it's me. So I tried this company number 2, company number 3, company number 4, and I realized, I don't think this is the right environment for me. So that's when then I considered, okay, how else can I make money in this world besides working? And then entrepreneurship fell. So it was not planned. I didn't plan it. I never even thought of myself as an entrepreneur, like at all. So
shucks.
Yeah. It broke my heart. Corporate broke my heart.
Really? Yeah, corporate will it will stretch you. I mean, I've been there myself, and I think being there for me was the realization that I needed to know that actually this is not the thing for me.
Yeah. What is it that bothered you?
Man, corporate broke me. Like, corporate broke me. Just structure, management styles more than anything. I think for me, management styles, it just broke me. And I felt like if I stayed there as like a young and ambitious woman, I'd be broken and just be complacent with what I was given. So for me, it was just like, whew, even just thinking about it just gives me the chills, because it was like that intense for me. But getting into entrepreneurship, so when did you decide that, now I'm ready?
I think in 2018, I thought starting a business was having a logo and registering on CIPC.
Of course. So let me tell you, I cannot tell you how many people I bump into and they've told me they wanted to start a business. And I'm like, why haven't you started? They're like, because I haven't registered. I'm still trying to have money to register. And I'm thinking to myself, that's not how it works. But I love you mentioned that, because it's a testament to say that we all go through that.
Yeah, it's normal.
It's normal. You're not alone. But just don't wait until you register.
Yeah, and I didn't know, right? That's what we think of. I need a logo. I need a company name. I've registered, and I'm like, I'm an entrepreneur.
And maybe a website.
Let me change my bio. Now I changed my bio. Entrepreneur. I didn't even go as far as a website. I didn't know anything about how to create a website.
Nice.
I had multiple companies, multiple logos.
Yeah.
I was very obsessed with the logo thing. I thought once I have a logo, I'd post it on my WhatsApp stories like, guys, I'm an entrepreneur.
I've
But But there's no
launched.
business. There's no business. It's just a logo and
Yeah.
a registration.
Yeah.
So yeah, I started like that.
Yeah.
Like how a lot of us start that
Yeah.
way in 2018.
Yeah.
Tried it out, started reading books, watching videos on YouTube,
Yeah.
learning about it. I started about 9 businesses.
Yeah.
Back to back to back.
Yeah.
All kinds of things. Like I
Yeah.
learned how to do eyelashes.
Yeah.
I learned website design. Oh, I can't even remember all of them, but I
my gosh.
tried to start so many businesses.
Yeah.
But I would always get stuck at the stage where it was time to actually talk to someone and make a sale.
Yeah. That's always the difficult part for a lot of people.
Yeah. So I enjoyed fantasizing about starting a business, planning
Yeah.
it all out, logos, like I said, everything. But then it's time to actually speak to a human being. And I'm like, oh no, but I'm an introvert. So close the business.
Next.
Yeah.
That's so powerful you mentioned that because a lot of people, especially the younger people now, they feel like they have to have the thing. They feel like the first business they start has to be their Facebook, has to be their Amazon, has to be like, because, they want to. And when you say that, I'm just also reminded of my journey that like to get here, there was so many businesses down the road that I started. And some of them I did very well, but realized I don't enjoy. Some of them halfway through, I was like, no, thanks. This is not something that I really like. And I say that to say to people that are listening that part of being an entrepreneur is figuring yourself up through the journey. I always say, my mom the other day was like, yo, the way you like business, Manaka, you might start something else in 2 years' time. I'm like, and I've made peace with that. It's not a sign of failure. It's a sign of figuring myself out.
And growth.
Powerful, which is growth. And now you are the founder of one of the businesses I literally peep into and I'm like, I think this is going to be a kick butt business. And that's Elevate X. Tell us a little bit more about it.
Elevate X is an education startup, right? So it actually, there's the baby that was born before Elevate. I ran an online course called Booked and Busy Bootcamp. It was called Taking You from Broke to Booked and Busy.
Yeah.
And so I teach this course by myself. I was just a solopreneur, just going along teaching a course. And then for like the whole of last year. And then at the end of the year, I partnered with my co-founder and we began to start Elevate X, which has a much bigger mission. Instead of it just being my course by myself, we want to teach multiple skills. I mentioned earlier on that I think if you're unemployed, you need to learn skills. But it's difficult to learn skills as a complete beginner. There's so much conflicting advice out there. This one's telling you to do this one's telling you to do that. And I think having a blueprint can help you. So the mission of Elevate X is just to empower people with digital skills and that they can use in the global market to get international clients.
I love that so much. I love what you guys stand for. And there was a post you did where you were sharing the amount of people that have enrolled in your courses. It was such a proud moment for me looking from the outside because that's impact. When you're able to touch so many people's lives and give them the information and the resources you have access to so they can also make money, which is mind-blowing and very powerful. Now, I want to ask you this question. I mean, I was thinking about it. I tried to so maybe let me put it this way, right? In my business journey, currently, I've been very open about people management has been like our recent issue or our recent challenge within this new, phase of our business. And I wanted to find out from you, I mean, you've got a co-founder, so you're not running the business by yourself, which is like a big thing. And you guys have a team now internally for the business. How are you guys cultivating a company culture that is not the corporate
This is so tricky
that we ran away from?
Exactly, right? So you always want, when you're doing your own thing like we are, you're trying to create a very different culture than what we have in corporate. But it's not that easy to execute. And especially as you add more people, I feel like when the founding team, like the people you start with, they get it, they understand. But as you expand, as you add new people, it becomes harder to keep that company.
Yes.
I have not figured this one out, Michelle. I don't know. It's tough. But I would say work with people you like, first of all, and that you guys are actually there for the mission and what you're trying to do. I think that helps a lot of the challenges. And then I think work ethic as well, because you need to work with people that share your same work ethic, your values, because the most frustrating thing is to feel like you're the one doing all the work and other people aren't pulling their weight. It's hard though. It's really tricky.
It's been a pain for us at Resonate currently. Do you think that, and I mean from an internal perspective, but also from some of the clients that you work with, do you think that there's something to be said about the different age groups in terms of work ethic? Like we're talking from Gen Z, millennial, to the people before the millennials and the boomers.
I think I know what you're asking me. You're
What
asking
am I
me about
asking?
Gen Z. Gen Z, you guys are a problem. Gen Z is a problem.
Hey,
I prefer the millennial work style. I'm a millennial myself. I'm 32.
Yeah.
And so I prefer millennials. We have a bit of like, we're a bit old school in that discipline, work ethic, boss babe. But then we're aware of things like company culture, mental health, blah, blah, blah. So I prefer to work with millennials myself.
Yeah.
Gen Z, they're very different.
Yeah.
They're a very different breed. I'm also like, I'm not sure about hiring Gen Zs.
Yeah.
But they're very creative as well. Like I
Yes.
think I have a mix, and in our company we have a mix of people of all ages. So we have all three.
Nice.
We have Gen X, millennials, and Gen Z.
Oh, wow.
And so for me that helps because the older people are able to add the structure, the formality, systems, whereas Gen Z is just like fly by the seat of their pants.
Like, let's go.
Yeah, and they're very energetic. They have a lot of ideas, but you need someone there to like, okay, whoa, slow down.
Yes.
There's protocol. Have some
Yeah.
respect. This is how we do things.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's interesting. I think having a mix of the different age groups because then you can get the best of both worlds.
Yeah, I love that a lot because we're seeing. I'm quite interested to see what the future of corporate is going to look like with a lot of Gen Zs getting into corporate. I think they are going to be forced to change their culture.
I think they're just going to quit.
Like the Gen Zs are going to be like,
They
bye.
don't compromise. They quit. Like day 2, they're like, I'm out of here.
But who's going to work? I feel like the
don't
corporates
know.
eventually will realize that they need them in their spaces.
Yeah.
Especially
that's
with
an
like the
interesting
AI
one.
coming in and all of that. I'm quite interested to see the change that's going to happen there. Because, they are an interesting breed
Oh my God.
to work with. And I'm seeing that they are more along the entrepreneurship side of things.
I think they like to dream big. I'm not sure about their work
Very-
ethic. I don't think their work ethic matches their hopes and dreams. I
Yeah.
think they talk big game, but they don't always execute.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm watching them.
I'm hoping they will learn, and I'm hoping that. But what I usually try to figure out in cases like this is like you see where the digital age is going, and I think they are mastering the digital age more.
Yes.
Whereas in like whatever their attitude or whatever that they're going through, you realize that their skills might be very much needed. So will we have to readjust our companies to fit them so we can get access to the skills that they have, or will it be the other way around?
I hope it'll be a blend of both, right?
Yeah.
I work with some Gen Z people. I have a lot of Gen Z students, and they do the best in my course. They just take so naturally to social media. They're so creative, right? And so I think they do need to learn a little bit of discipline, structure, respect.
Yeah.
But they change things. They really, they challenge the status quo in a way that I think us millennials are always afraid of. Like, no, but this is how it's always been done.
Yeah.
They're just like, well, change it.
Yeah.
Let's
see.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah.
I do like how they do things.
Yes.
I'm interested to see the companies that they'll build.
Yes.
If they go out on their own, like how they'll do it. I want to see.
Yeah, I love that. I recommended your company to a lady that has a son, and the son actually finished high school and he just wasn't doing anything. And I'm curious to know, is that something that you guys would do in terms of people that are saying, I don't want to study anything, or there isn't funds to study, but I want to do something that enables me to like do my own thing. I'm 18, I'm 19, I just finished high school, and I really like social media.
That's exactly what who we're for.
Yeah.
So we're not trying to tell people don't go to university. If you already know what you want to do, you want to be a chartered accountant, do that. But there's so many people that don't fit that description. Either the funds aren't there, the marks aren't there, whatever the case is. We have a lot of people. I have some students who are paying their own school fees. They're registered, but they're paying school fees with the money that they make in the program.
Nice.
Yeah, I get a lot of people who think it's not for them, but I actually prefer the students because they have a lot of energy. They're very hungry. They're very thirsty. So yeah, if you're just done with matric and you're just chilling at home, this is the perfect thing to do because then you can even save up money so that if you do decide to go study, you actually have the funds and you're not waiting for funding.
Yeah.
If you want to start a business, you have the funds. So I really think it's a great gateway thing to do, to be a freelance social media manager, make some money, and then you can do whatever else you want with the money.
Yeah, definitely. I love that. What's been your biggest hurdle in entrepreneurship?
That's such a tough question.
Yeah.
It's succeeding. I feel like I kept trying so many businesses and I felt like I started to doubt my ability to stick with things. So this Elevate X is the first time I've stuck to something. Yes. And I think content creation, I've stuck to it as well. So I think my biggest problem is trying not to get sidetracked. And as an entrepreneur, you see problems everywhere and you just want to solve it. You want to start this business. And it's like, no, let's just focus. We're not starting something new. We're cultivating what we currently have. We're making it grow. So right now I'm in a season of trying not to get distracted and do something else because I've succeeded a lot. I've taught a lot of people, and innately you start to get a little bit bored. And I'm like, no, okay, we're not doing something new. Stick with it. So yeah, I like that because my students also keep me stuck in the business. They're like, no, don't go, come back.
We
come
need
back.
you right here.
So I think right now it's just sticking through it, even when it gets hard, even when performance starts to dip, or you're not as motivated. It's not so shiny. It's not so new. It's getting a bit boring. To still stick with it and find the passion again.
Yeah, that's lovely. And I saw you've gotten a lot of your clients from platforms like TikTok and Instagram. What strategy have you used to sell yourself?
Do you mean my courses?
Yeah.
TikTok. Oh my God, TikTok.
Yeah.
TikTok is the place to
Yeah.
sell. Oh my God, TikTok
Yeah.
is the main place. And I think what I'd say is, you said I must give tactics. Like,
Yes.
give
Let's
it,
go.
give it.
Let's go.
A mistake that people make when they sell on TikTok: don't over-educate your audience for a very long time. Education is important. Yes, educate. Talk about your values, whatever. But there must be a portion where you ask for the sale. Just say, hey, this is my product.
Yeah.
It's 10 Rand. This is the website. Buy it. I do a lot of that kind of content. So I do have a mix of content, but I don't neglect the content where I say, buy now.
Yeah.
This is for sale.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shucks. And I guess, the reason why I do the work that I do is because I realize that there's a lot of people out there who are great at what they do, but they just don't know how to ask for the sale. It's like they just don't know. They just, like, it's like they know this is the point where I should say you need to buy, but it's like they really don't know. So when you say that, don't over-educate your audience, what does that actually mean? Does that mean, I know Gary Vee has the jab, 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 jab hook, that kind of strategy. But what would you think is applicable? Maybe from like a very practical point of view. It's like, okay, do X videos of education, on the last video, ask for something, but do it this way. Do you get what I mean? Yeah.
I think you need to figure out the ratio that works best for your business.
Yeah.
Obviously, it will depend if you're selling products, whether you're selling services. I think this will be more applicable to people who sell services, where you do need to educate a portion. Figure out your so maybe you say a third of my content is education.
Yeah.
A third is just relatable, right? It's just about me, about the business, because people want to know who they're buying from. So there must be that personal aspect of it. And then a third is like directly asking for the sale. So you figure out like that ratio. And maybe if you have another content pillar, for instance, that can be the fourth one. But just divide it up to make sure you're touching on all types of content, and it's not just every day you're telling us your values and your history, but then have a mixture.
Yeah. The I also want to add, as something I've seen you do quite a lot with your content, is like show the value of your products. Where you talk about how your students are doing well, how your students are doing great. And I think that also generates quite a lot of sales within your company. Alex Hormozi has this formula. I actually forgot it now, but you must check out his videos. And he says that he has a number of videos when you're educating, and then like if it's like the fourth and then the fifth one, you ask for a sale.
Oh, that's the one where he talks about how in TV, right?
Yes.
There's like 45 minutes of content
Yes.
and then an hour of
Yes.
whatever. So it's a ratio of 3-1.
Yes.
Even on Instagram, you'll see three content pieces and then an ad.
Yeah.
So the 3-1.
Yeah.
I beg to differ. It just depends where you're at. Like there are seasons where it's time to sell. Like a month end, let's sell.
It's like now the money must come in.
I also look at the calendar. I do plan it as well based on the calendar.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. So we've got a masterclass, and I think when this video goes out, the live masterclass
I
would have
saw
gone
the one you
out.
launched yesterday.
Yes, yeah. So
Congrats.
that's coming out because we've got an inner circle group. And one of the biggest challenges a lot of people have been going through is like, I think I'm doing okay until it's month end. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like things are not moving, things are going well, I'm not making money. And one of the things that we've done, I'm curious to know how you guys deal with this in your business, is that if there is a target and we realize that we're not meeting the target by Boma 16, 17, like you should already know by then that like things aren't going to, what do you do? Like what things can you start doing to make sure that we meet the target? And that's essentially what the masterclass is about. But I'm curious to know from you, and maybe if you've got any tips for people that are within the businesses that you teach, like what happens then? When there isn't.
So depending on how long you've been in business for, you should know the patterns. In the first week of the month, what is our sales volume? The second week, the third week, the fourth week, right? So you're saying you should already know halfway through the month if you're already behind. One, don't panic and just make a sale and give discounts and give away their.
It's like now everything is 60% off.
Don't panic. But go back and identify what the problem is, right? Obviously, we always want to do a root cause analysis of what changed. And sometimes things are just seasonal. We had a terrible month in February. I don't know what happened. Was everybody broke in February? I don't know.
It's like January was hard, and then February they were trying to catch up.
Yes.
And then it's like March, they're now just breathing. And it's like,
So sometimes there isn't anything you can do. I don't think we did anything wrong. Everything was the same. But February sales were just low. And sometimes it's like market conditions. You have to be aware of what else is going on in the market.
Yeah.
These elections is coming,
That's
load shedding, all of these other factors. Like when it comes to your customers, you're not the only person they're buying from. You're not
That's
the only
true.
thing they're budgeting.
That's
Maybe
true.
people want to buy, but something happened.
Yeah.
So what do you do? Okay, that's the good question. What do you do? Be creative.
Yeah.
Maybe launch a mini something, a
Yeah.
mini ebook, add a product. I don't
Yeah.
think it's a good idea to discount things
Yeah.
when you're panicking, but maybe there's a mini masterclass you can do. You can
Yeah.
host a webinar to make sales. Like come up with something that you can do that won't hurt the rest of your business and the value that you provide
Yeah.
in your other products and services. Yeah.
I love that a lot because it speaks to part of the solutions that we give a lot of our clients. So maybe just like I'm gonna give this for free, okay? And then if it works, you gotta come and pay me. So what we normally do at Resonate is, and I'm hoping this would be helpful to somebody, is that I always tell all of the businesses under our company to do we call them tricks in the hat, like a thing. So these are things that you have to pull out every single time you see your sales are running out. They need to be there, pre-built, pre-done.
Oh, you've planned it.
No,
you're holding.
Yeah, it's literally like your handbag, because remember what happens a lot is people panic when they don't make that money.
Of course.
So for you to not panic, you already need to have that kind of pocket of things. We've got a term for it, and I just slipped my mind. And you need to have this pocket of things that you're going to offer. So for instance, we're talking things like price bundling, right? So instead of saying this is what we offer for 2,000 Rand, you can say, well, for 1.8, you can get this, and this. It could inspire people to buy more. Again, looking at your customer profile and your tier, there are people who want to work with you, but they can't afford you. Maybe that month is time for you to go to them. So can you maybe underprice something or just do something at a lower price so that you can maximize on the numbers? But I think every business has their own little things that they know, okay, maybe we can do a workshop. Maybe we could, like you mentioned, a masterclass. Maybe we can. Discounts I don't recommend at all because they're such a business killer. But the biggest thing for me is like every business needs to have their own little handbag of things to do when we are not making money.
I can add one that we recently did. So we know, so my course price is 1,500,
Yeah.
right? And for some people, that's a big amount to fork out.
Yes.
I understand that,
Yeah.
right? And so we introduced a payment plan. People have been asking for a payment
I
plan.
love that.
So we didn't reduce the price. The
Yes.
price is still 1.5, but
Yeah.
you pay 750 times 2. Didn't reduce the value, but a
nice.
lot more people can come in and afford that. So
That is so good. That is so nice because let's say on a tough month, you might not make the 1.5 from the person, but you can make the 750.
something, yeah.
Oh, I love that. Oh, that is so good. We're definitely adding that. That is, it's like,
You're welcome.
definitely adding that. Thanks,
Yeah,
Kay.
and I think it also shows that you're aware that, like, people judge customers,
Yeah.
right, for not affording things.
Yeah.
But I don't like that attitude,
Yeah.
right? Like, make a plan, figure
Yeah.
something out. Can you have a payment plan?
Yeah.
And don't make the payment plan more expensive. I've seen some people penalize the payment
They
plan.
add more,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't like that.
Yeah. It's part of, I once read a book that spoke about empathetic marketing.
Oh, you see.
So powerful, so powerful. It's like how are you able to empathize with somebody and actually help them while you do that?
Exactly.
And I think that's what makes it easier for people to relate to a certain product because people want to feel like they're cared for.
And that they belong there.
Exactly. So if you make them feel bad for not having the money, then giving them a bigger penalty, chances are it's going to be hard for them to do business with you because people buy from people they like.
Yeah, I got so many messages after we introduced it. People just saying, thank you.
Oh, wow.
I can't part with that lump sum in one go.
Yeah.
And I can't save either.
Yeah.
I'm bad at
Yeah.
saving. Thank you for this. People
Yeah.
were so grateful. Like just care. Sometimes just don't judge. I've seen people, then you're not my customer if you can't afford it.
Yeah.
Don't have that attitude.
Hey,
Yeah.
you know when you talk when you say that, I'm curious to hear your thoughts around knowing your value as a business and as an entrepreneur because that's such a big conversation. Yeah, every single time we talk about the P word pricing, people are just always like, I price myself based on my value because there's always like all these amazing stats and conversations around pricing. How do you think is the best way to price yourself? Or how have you priced
It's
yourself?
a tough one,
Yeah.
right? Because I don't think my course is worth 1.5. I think it's worth like 10,000 Rand. Because I've had people who've done digital marketing courses at universities, institutes, and they've told me I learned more in your course. So my price is not based on the value that I provide. It's based on where I live. I live in South Africa. Okay, and my course is made for people that are unemployed and can't afford it, right? Can't afford, don't have a job, etc. So it's priced based on that, understanding the market which I serve.
Yeah.
Could I make it 10,000 Rand? Yes, but I think I will reduce the volume of customers that I get, right? One. And two, I genuinely want to help people, right? I can't be free because there's a lot that went into it. I have a lot of free courses as well. If people want free courses, I have those, plenty of those. But I want people who have skin in the game. But I don't, it's a tough one because for me, I think I'm lucky because I have a bigger social media platform. I can get the customers in.
Yeah.
Well, I think it would be a different conversation if I didn't have the traffic coming through the door. Then maybe the 1.5 pricing wouldn't work. I would have to charge more. Yeah, it does depend. But I do think that if you live in Africa, it's really, really hard to sell high ticket products and services.
Yeah.
You can do them,
Yeah.
but what percentage of the population can actually afford that? So for me, it's different. That's why with my US clients, I don't charge low ticket. I charge them what they can afford because they live in America and they can afford it.
Yeah.
So I think you really need to look at who are your customers and where do you live? Because in South Africa, luxury, it works, but for how many people? How many people can afford that?
Yeah,
So,
that's true. I love that because what you're basically saying is the only way you can price yourself with the price that makes you smile is if you know who you're catering to, because then you will be content and happy with the price that you've given them. And I think that's such a. I'm reading a book called the Best Salesperson, the Best Salesman in the World. That book's changed my life.
Really?
I slept so late last night because I'm like, I read a lot, but it's very rare I get excited and very like a book just speaks to me. And one of the things that the book talks about is, or that book really shares a lot, is selling to people in a caring manner. I think when we think of like Wall Street and when we think of just the world's sales, it really comes across as a very cutthroat, like, I'm going to charge you 10,000 Rand because that's how much I'm worth and you're going to pay it. And I love the conversation right now because what we're basically saying is like, just know who you're selling to. And everything else is going to be fine. I asked DJ Spoo a similar question a few weeks ago when he came for an interview here. And something similar came out because my biggest thing to him was like, you made more fire like so low. People were selling it by the taxi rank. Why? Because I mean, celebrity culture says like, put it up there, make it high end.
You're a
make
celebrity.
it exactly.
Yeah.
People will be willing to pay. And one of the biggest things he shared with us was like, I know my audience. I know my people.
That's the thing.
And I was content and happy that I'm giving it at this price because my people would be able to afford it. And those are the people I want to interact with my product. And I'm happy that way.
We all have a different mission for our business, right? I don't think there's anything wrong with being on the high end, luxury. I know with events,
Yes.
you know, there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not saying all of us need to, but I'm not on that spectrum. I'm not trying to say it is premium. The quality is premium.
Yes.
But my branding, our mission as a company isn't that. Our mission as a company is affordability, is access, is saying you belong here and you deserve this knowledge. Just because you can't afford to go to UCT, you should have this high quality information. So it just depends on what your mission is. And for me, I've been helping people. For 10 years, I've been helping the youth with their careers. Like I just care. I care a lot about this unemployment problem, and I'm not gonna sit and wait for the government. Okay, I'm gonna do what I can do as just Kutlwano. I can do something about it.
Yeah.
So for me, I care for that market.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to demonize people who sell high ticket services, but that's just not my calling in life.
Yeah. And I guess essentially selling is really just part of giving people value that you care about and having them receive that value.
Yeah, exactly.
I like that. I like that a lot. Sure. Okay. Thank you so much for joining us for this conversation. It's such a powerful conversation. I love talking to women who are building things that matter.
Right. Yeah, I love that as well.
Yeah. I love that.
I think we're doing a good job.
Yeah. We're getting there. It's like, it's not easy, but you know, we're getting there. What would be, and I think in closing, your biggest advice to upcoming entrepreneurs? Besides join Elevate X.
You can. I don't think we're not targeted at entrepreneurs. We have some that join because they want to learn how to manage their own social media without having to hire someone. So we have a few people that join. But I would say to new entrepreneurs, just know your why. We say it sounds so cliche, but know your why. Money, we're here for the money. That goes without saying. But have a deeper why, because I think it will help you weather the storms that will come, that will inevitably come.
And they will come.
Yeah. And have a good why. Have a really good why, a spiritual why, a deeper why than just making money.
Yeah. Do you think your why changes from the moment you start to like in the process?
It's always just to help people for me personally. Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. Okay. Interesting. I'm asking that because, I mean, I remember starting several businesses in the past, and initially my why was just, I need a new car. I was like, what skill do I have that I can trade for money so I can like do this and this? And halfway through that, I always say God then just like captured me, because only then was I awakened to the reality of what I was actually doing. It's like and I mean, I've always just been so passionate about helping people with their businesses. But there was a moment where I think God just revealed to me that, do you realize what you're doing? Like, do you really see what you're doing and how big it could get beyond what could have started as your why, or as I just want to get out of this corporate environment and I want to do something? Because sometimes some people's why is like, I want to do something I love. Like, to them, that's like their first why. That's why I'm asking. I'm like, I'm so curious to know, does it change for other people? And I'm curious to hear from you guys. What do you think? I mean, let us know in the comment section. Does your why change? I mean, I can imagine you want to get a job first when you go apply for the job because you want to make money. And then halfway in the job, you realize you actually love what you do. And then it's like...
Okay, I hear you. I don't think
Do you
my
get what I
why
mean?
was like that then. You're right. I
yeah.
didn't start that way. It's that way now. That's what keeps me going now.
I see.
I'm older, I'm more mature.
Yes.
But back then, I also just wanted to make money.
It's like, I just want to make the cash.
Yeah.
And thank you for saying that, because the reason why I also thought maybe we clarify that is because we have a lot of young people that watch, and then they put so much pressure on themselves because they feel like they need to have a why that's about to save the world. And it's like, you're 19. Maybe you don't need to. Yes, it would be great if you do. And if you do, that's awesome. But if you don't, that's also fine. But that should not be the reason why you don't take action. It shouldn't be the reason why you don't act, because you now don't have a why. Because I talk to a lot of people, and this why is usually translated as purpose, right? It's like, I don't know my purpose. It's like, you don't. Just, what are you good at? Go and do that. Even if you do it because you want to buy the sneakers tomorrow, it's fine. Just go and do it. Because I think we are where we are because we listened to those small little whys and the nudges that eventually got us to that point where we could now sit and say, I tried 10 businesses and right now I'm good with where I am, you know? So thank you for
You're
sharing.
so right.
That.
Like, I didn't actually dig deep into that question. You're absolutely right. And I'm so glad you're saying this, because I think when you are, it also depends on where you're at in your life, right? If you're starting out in your 20s, go try as many things as possible. You don't have to have your purpose will find you. It's like, start stuff. Because if you had told me 10 years ago that I was going to be making TikTok videos and YouTube videos, I would have been like, me? No, I'm going to be in the office.
I'm going to have my corner office with a beautiful view.
Yeah, but once you try different things, then it can find you along the way. So you're so right.
Yeah, that's so powerful. Thank you so much, Kay Khatebo, for joining us, the co-founder of Elevate X. We're so excited to see what you're going to do. Hopefully, this is not going to be the last time you come here. I always say to all my guests that come that when you're launching something, like a book, just know that this is the place where we really want you, so you can talk a lot more about it. We really want to platform, but more than anything, just give access to people as far as all the knowledge and the juices you've got in your mind and everything that you're learning. So thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you. This was so fun. You're such a great host. So thank you for having me.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you. Resonate community, thank you so much for joining us for this episode. This was amazing. If you were listening on the audio platforms or you're watching us on YouTube, I really hope that we've kept you company. This was such an amazing episode, and I've no doubt that you definitely learned something. Thank you once again, and we'll see you guys on our next episode.